Gar was special, man, because my first major league beat was covering him, and the impact that the first guy has on you, and the relationship you have with the manager, and he helped me so much as a reporter, taught me about baseball every day, conversations we would have, and he was a bit of a visionary. I was telling Billy some of his ideas, and tell you the kind of guy that Phil was. We have so many stories where it was just, they didn't win a lot, but he was good-natured, and they played hard. They did the best they could. He knew it was, he's playing freshman against varsity a lot of times.
Knew the problems that the job has, though.
Yeah,
yes,
he knew it. And a couple of times he let it get to him. There's probably a famous, I don't know if Doug or like Les Grobstein's archives have the tape of him at Wrigley with the Albert bleeping Bell story. Not Albert Bell hitting Fernando Vina.
Different deal.
No, different deal.
One.
It was like, we had spent the pregame and Hardecourt was beating him up because like your roster is messed up. You have more catchers than outfielders right now on your roster. What are you guys doing? Like you're going to get hung out and you're going to be a player short and it's going to be brutal. And he's like, we got good players.
We got good guys.
And that day at Wrigley, the Brewers had a chance to win, and they had guys on base against Rod Beck, and the only guy they had left was a rookie Todd Dunn to pinch hit, and Todd Dunn struck out on some Bugs Bunny changeups from Rod Beck, and Hardecourt comes down and like afterwards he's like, see, I told you like,
where you're at.
He couldn't wait to hit him. Like the first question, like, see, I told you your roster is screwed up and you were going to get hung out. And Gar just like, Tom, he said, don't you think I'd like to have Albert bleeping Bell up in the ninth inning with the game on the line? Well, I don't have Albert bleeping Bell. I'm not going to get Albert bleeping Bell, and Albert bleeping Bell's not going to be part of our team, and it's not going to bleeping change. So stop asking me about the roster. And everybody's like freaking out, but this is like, the discourse would seem heated, and he had this reputation of being scrap iron, but it was all with love. I mean,
for sure.
It was just like almost sometimes for comedic effect.
There's an understanding and where you're able to have the personality of a person and a human being in the job. He allowed himself, it sounds like, to be a human being.
And a lot of times I was the only guy on the road during that era. I was the only guy who traveled. And so I'd be waiting outside the clubhouse with a bunch of AP stringers. And like, they'd be like, what's Garner going to be like after a loss like that? I'm like, oh, you just wait. And we'd be standing outside, and one night it was really a long lockout, like they're making a player move or something, and there was no PR guy. And then we're waiting. I'm looking at my watch, like, this is longer than usual. What the hell's going on? And then Gar comes out, and he's eating he's getting a rib, and he's like, let these fine people of the Fourth Estate in. They got a job to do. I'm sorry, guys. I apologize for the wait. Come on in. And he let us in. The PR guy didn't let us in. Gar came. And I'm like, yeah, that's what it's going to be like. And the guy's like, oh, good. I thought it was,
I was nervous.
I was nervous.
What a guy. There's not a lot of guys like that, right?
Gar lived in Houston where he played at the end of his playing career, and he was a big ambassador for Houston. He loved it there. Mm-hmm. And when the Brewers played there in interleague, we're hanging out at the Astrodome, and it's getaway day, and their team's flying home, and he's like, hey, what's your deal? What are you doing after the game? I said, well, I got time. My flight's out of Bush Airport, and I'm going to finish my story and find a place to have dinner, take my rental car back and go to the airport. And I'm going to kill like 5 hours or something. He's like, well, that's dumb. Because why don't you just go to my place? He fishes his keys out. And he's like, yeah, stop at my place. There's nobody there. I hang out there for 20, a while. It's 20 minutes from the airport.
Wow.
You can go to my house and chill out.
Give me his house keys.
He can give me his house keys. Like, nobody's home. Carol and the kids are gone. Like, you can just go there and hang out and just relax at my place and just bring me the keys tomorrow. I'm like, Gar, I appreciate that, but I'm not going to your freaking house, right?
I'm not going to walk in and check out.
Somebody might think that I'm breaking in or something, but I'm not going to like walk around and snoop through you. I'm not going to your house. He insisted. He was like mad that I didn't take his keys. Like, why would you not?
Sorry for getting personally offended. What, my house isn't good enough for you, Drew?
Like, why would you not?
That's amazing.
Gar, that's all good. He lived in Kingwood, and I'm like, no, that's okay. I appreciate the offer, though. And that was one of his finer moments. That's the kind of dude he was.
That's incredible. I mean, how many people are going to give it, especially as a manager to a beat reporter,
I'm like,
the keys to his house?
I'm not going to your house, dude. He was offended that I didn't do it. So we got to know his family. Awesome. Really just a great kids, great family. His daughter worked at Harley Davidson and spent the summer here as an intern. And it was such a good relationship. Like, you'll never be like that again. You'll never have that. Right. And the coaches are so guarded now. I'm trying to think of who.
There's such a fear of the information.
Was like a go-to guy. I mean, Ron Wolf would return everybody's calls, but it was professional, and that was probably the closest thing.
A fear of being open,
Bob.
To your point, Billy, a fear of being open. In some ways, the closest we could get maybe is what we have with Murph now. Murph's open, and he's pretty gregarious with media.
He is.
Hunter would tell us that, but that's probably as close as you'll get now, right, to it.
Yeah, there's such a fear of any information getting out. But there's also just like, Gar then played in an era where you lived a common life, right? Now, obviously you were an uncommon individual as a pro athlete, but you were able to live a normal life. Now, the way that certain players and managers who ended up playing started living in a little bit more of that time, you just have grown up a totally different way.
Yeah.
There's a casual nature of just being a human being that is kind of escaped us from a lot of years. And there's something special to knowing and hearing about him as a player and as a manager.
Yep.
He feels like the greatest calling card he could relate to every single human being in the locker room.
Yep.
Because you allowed yourself to be
absolutely
in all of their shoes. Yeah. And all anybody ever wants to be is respected. And when you can respect everyone's time the same as the best player on the team to the local beat guy who's working his first job on the newspaper, that just shows the quality of guy you end up being.
Yeah. He was another time the Brewers were playing Detroit, another getaway game, and I had a tight flight on this one. I had to leave Tiger Stadium. It was an afternoon getaway game, middle of the week, and I got to get to the airport so I can get home. And the old Tiger Stadium, the dugouts were sunken, and you were kind of looking up, and it was really weird. You're almost like below ground level, and they let the grass grow long, so it was actually hard to like see and stuff. It was like being in a duck blind. It was very hard. It was a weird view, it was a weird layout. And during this game, I was bitching, as always, spent a lot of my time bitching about the time of game and the pace of play. This was pre-pitch clock, obviously.
Kidding. Garner would love the pitch clock.
And there's a ball hit to the Brewers left fielder, and it's a shoe top thing, and the umpire called it a trap and base hit. And Gar goes jogging out there and talks to him for a little bit. I'm just like, what do you do? You're killing me. What are you doing? And like, there's no way you could see from the dugout, the grass. Like, there's no way you could see. And so immediately I'm downstairs. I'm like, Gar, you're killing me. I got a tight flight out of here. What are you doing arguing that call? He goes, oh, Mr. Smarty Pants, you think I was arguing the call? I'm like, no, yeah, of course. You went out there. You delayed the game for a couple minutes. What the hell? He said, I wasn't arguing at all. I went out there because it was a hot day and it's like 85, 90 degrees. And he's like, it was a hot day. And the third base umpire, and I think it was like Jim Joyce or something, ran out and was in position to make the call, hustled out there. He goes, I went out there to congratulate the umpire and say I appreciated him hustling and making the call. I couldn't see it. I told him I didn't see it, but I said, I appreciate it because you busted your ass down there and got out there and made a call. And he's like, he was trying to curry favor with the guy for a trip, for
trying to help you out next time.
Yeah. Right. But he's like, I was out there and I was applauding him and saying, good job for the hustle. And I'm like, well, it looked like
you hate umpires, Drew. All right.
I said, It looked like you were dressing him down and arguing. He goes, well, it might have looked like that, but that's not what I did. And I'm like, oh, well, either way, you're killing me on time of game.
Funny.
What are you doing?
Well, you choose now when I'm on a tight flight out of here to be a good guy. Come on, Phil.
Yeah. So
You
awesome.
You always felt like, even though the Brewers teams in the 90s weren't winning, weren't winning enough and didn't have the records you wanted, right? Couldn't get to 500 after 92. You always felt like they were well managed. At least that's how it felt like to me when Gardner was the manager in the 90s. You always felt like this team was well managed. He knew baseball. He was a good leader. They just didn't have the talent, I always felt that way, at least for me as a young boy growing up watching the Brewers in that era, my formative years in the 90s. And you always remembered the 92 year, his first year, what he could do if he had that talented type of team, and he did have that guy.
Cal Eldred was the Miz that year.
All those guys, right.
Yeah. Listash, rookie of the year.
Had the great staff. Malders last year. Robin Yount still had a good year. So, and Darrell Hamilton was a young guy, Listash.
Mm-hmm.
So it was Vaughn. It's pretty interesting to think about that. He was a good, good baseball
player. The other one also in Detroit, last weekend of the season. Brewers are going nowhere. It's the last weekend of the season. So it's like the ultimate getaway weekend. And it's a Friday, the first game of the series in Detroit. And I walked in the clubhouse and I could tell something was off. You get these spidey sense, like something's going on. Somebody get sent out. It's like the last weekend. What could happen? Something was going on. I could feel it in the air. I'm like, didn't find out. I asked some of my go-to guys, what's going on here? Like, I got nothing for you, man. Can't tell you nothing. All right. Well, that's weird. Go up to the press box after the availability. It's an hour before the game. Phone rings in the press box. Drew Olson, call. So I go down to the PR guy's phone. It's like, I figure it's my wife or my desk calling me.
Something important.
Something's going on. Hey, Drew, it's Gar. Come on back down here, will you?
What?
All right. So I come on back down, and the security guard's outside the clubhouse, and the guy goes, "Are you Drew?" Yeah, they're waiting for you. Go to Gar's office. So just walk right through it. Don't go to where the team is, but go right to Gar's office. Go to Gar's office, and he's got their new left fielder acquired in the trade that year, Mark Newfield, with him.
Newfield of Dreams, yeah.
And he said, "Yeah, hey, Drew, just so you know, Mark was arrested this afternoon. One of his friends sent him some marijuana in the mail. He was arrested he had a half ounce of marijuana FedEx to him.
Ooh,
and the dog sniffed it out at the airport. And the feds came and he was arrested, and he's not going to have any comment for you now, but I just wanted you to know this. And just like, he laid it out. So before the game. So I'm like, holy cow, like this is a big story. It's like and
yeah, no kidding.
So he told me this, and I barely watched the pitch of the game. I'm calling the Wayne County Sheriff, and I'm finding out what happened in the particulars, and I'm writing basically a crime story. And this was a guy that was a centerpiece of a trade for Greg Vaughn, and he had 7 homers, and it's like since he had arrived, and
the big guy
he was going to be the left fielder of the future. And like now you look back and you kind of laugh. A weed and a half ounce
in the mail too,
especially since it's legal in Detroit now.
Yeah, no
in
kidding. Michigan.
But he did that. Gar did that, and he didn't check with PR or anybody. He's just like, it's the last weekend of the year. We got one beat guy, and he knew that Friday, like the Saturday paper, not many people read or buy the Saturday paper. He's like, if we do it this way, it'll be a one-day story,
and it'll be done.
And if we don't, and he finds out like through the police reporters in Detroit, it's going to be way worse. And he did that on his own. He had the PR sense to do that, and management wasn't especially thrilled until he explained like his reasoning for it. They were like, "Oh, you shouldn't have stonewalled. You shouldn't have told him. It might not have gotten out." And he's like, "It's going to get out.
People are going to find out." Yeah.
Say Milwaukee Brewers outfielder, and somebody somewhere is going to, whether it's a TV station, a radio station, AP, somebody's going to find it. So we might as well get out in front of it. And that was a great PR instinct.
Yeah.
So when I talked to like PR class and stuff, that was a great instinct on his part. Like, make it a one-day story, get it. And Mark moved past it. He did his community service, all that. Now Newfield flamed out for other reasons other than that.
Other than more packages getting sent.
But Gar's instinct in baseball and crisis PR in that moment, he made the call, told me, he's like, we got one guy on the beat, and like it'll be a one-day story.
Drew will take care of it.
He read the room. He's like, because it would have been worse.
It's crazy how honest he can generally make things a little bit better.
Exactly. He knew, he read that, and he knew it, and that was the right thing to do.
You're 100, and well, he's 100% true on, let's make this a one-day story, and then instead of a 4-day story in the middle of the offseason when the only thing that people can be talking about the Brewers is our guy getting arrested.
Exactly.
That is really, really smart. Truly ahead of his time. Even like the baseball things that you've told me about and how he saw the game, his belief in where it was going. I mean, that's impressive baseball life.
No question. Great guy, great ambassador. And again, he does deserve a lot of credit. I know George Petak's the guy that people thank, but Gar carried a lot of water, and he was the face of it. And he made people realize that team's not good now, but we're getting better. And in order to be where we want to be, we got to have a stadium. He was the messenger for that.
I was going to say, you want to talk about don't shoot the messenger. He was the one that had to send that pigeon around a lot of different times.
Yep. It was amazing.